All the mollies, little doggies. Hey, what's up, guys? Victor and Julian back here from Be Fit in the heart of Miami Lakes.
Did you know 67% of people who pay for a gym membership don't use them?
What?
Perhaps you're one of them.
Are you one of them? You.
That's me. Why is it that people actively pay for a gym membership and don't actually use it? Today, we're going to discuss that and what you can do to avoid it.
Don't be one of the 67%.
Please don't. Come to Be Fit. All people actually come here.
Or I'll text you to harass you.
I'll harass you.
Harris Potter.
Harrison Ford.
Ford Bronco.
Bronchitis.
Bronco Buster.
Buster Keaton.
You got me. What this statistic says to me is that people highly overestimate their goals or what they're willing to do to get to their goals and what they actually do in real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. It's like they aspire to something, like they obviously want to be fit and healthy and they have these goals, but then their actual behavior says otherwise.
Yeah, they'd rather just be home, or I think for them, the act of signing up for the gym alone is like a check, an accomplishment. Like, hey, I signed up for the gym, but
it feels good to know that, like, at least you took that step.
Exactly.
Going is a whole other animal.
That's the hard part.
Yeah, we're gonna discuss potential reasons why people might, because there's two camps here. There's the people that sign up and never really actually go, and then there are people that go for a while and then just drop off. And I feel like that's more common.
Yeah, the ones that go like twice a week and like they'll do machines and then they'll go in the sauna or something like that. That's another population.
I just pay for gym membership so I could use your shower.
I just pay for gym membership so I can go and watch the news while I do treadmills.
Oh, okay.
So you've been in the industry for a while. Clearly, look at the white hairs on you. But why do you think are the main reasons that people do this? Why do they sign up for something, spend their money, which is a huge deal nowadays? Like, you see people like very stingy with their money. Why would you spend money on something and not take advantage of it?
I think there's conflating reasons, but we're gonna go into a lot of them because I think each one deserves to be expanded upon, right? So one obvious one would be like lack of motivation. That's like the first thing that people tell you. It's like, why don't you go to the gym? Or I'm like, some days I'm more motivated than others. When I'm not motivated, like I just lose that internal battle of I'm home and I'm tired and I've had a long day at work and like I'm just not gonna go.
Yeah.
Right? So I think motivation and lack of results, that's another reason they go hand in hand, because if you're not seeing results, you're not motivated.
Now, conflation, that's the word you used?
Conflated?
Is that a word? I've never heard it.
Is that a word? Look it up, guys. We're live, right?
Conflated.
Is that how this technology works?
Conflated definition here.
We'd be horrible live.
I would be great. I'd be fired in a day, in a heartbeat.
No, it'd just be hilarious with all the mess ups. Conflated, I think, is a word. But anyway, motivation. What can we say about motivation?
Okay, so like you said, motivation is one of those things that people feel like, oh, I'm gonna start the gym and I'm gonna be super motivated because when I signed up, I was motivated. But motivation is fleeting, as we know well. And all people that have success in the gym say that they don't depend on motivation, they depend on consistency and like schedule, discipline. So if you set yourself a schedule, it's much easier to tell yourself, I'm gonna go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5, rather than say, oh, I'll go when I'm feeling motivated, because spoiler alert, you're never gonna feel motivated if you're that type of person.
Very rarely. And to add to that, this is why we always harp on this podcast and with our clients about the minimum viable dose, right? Don't say I'm gonna go 5 times a week for an hour and a half, because who the hell is motivated after a long day of work to say, now I gotta drive to the gym and go there for an hour and a half? But if it's 35 minutes, 40 minutes, especially when you're starting, give yourself the minimum amount of time where it's hard to say no to like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Like, it's only 20 minutes. Let me just go for 20 minutes. If I don't feel it, I can just leave. But it's daunting to think about an hour and a half. So the advice there would be start with the smallest amount of time possible.
Yeah, or do something that you enjoy a little more, because not every form of exercise is enjoyable to everyone equally, you know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
Some people don't like cardio, some people love cardio, so maybe start with something you like. Something like you just mentioned there that we say is we're both trainers, you guys know that, but we're not the type to be predatory in the sense that if a client starts with us new, they're like, oh, I want to do 5 days a week. We're like, let's chill, hold your horses. Let's start with 3, maybe 4, ease into it, see how you feel, because it's just not realistic for somebody to start 5 days a week and be consistent and keep that up
And that comes with all these years of experience where we've seen that 67% that start with you day one and they're super motivated. I want to do 5 days a week. And you're like, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
We'll see in a month if you're still this excited. So that's why we start with like less.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, like we're taking a hit there because of course you want more clients, you want more people, but I'd rather have a consistent group of a small group of people that are consistent that I know are going to come rather than people who I'm feeding false promises to. Yeah,
goes hard in the beginning and then just
we're gonna do
out.
1 month of 5 days a week and then you're done. Like no, I'd rather.
Yeah. And also just like we're gonna talk about this in a future podcast, but we have a completely different business model than like a membership gym that just charges you to use their gym. So we're gonna talk about that in another episode. So what goes hand in hand with that is the lack of results, right? And obviously you sign up for a gym, you may or may not know what you're doing. Most people don't know what they're doing. So they go, they kind of see, they look around, oh, what's that person doing? And A, they don't know what they're doing, so they're not getting optimal results. But B, they're not hanging out there long enough to even see results. They have unrealistic expectations. So that's another contributing factor. They go in thinking in a few weeks, I should expect to like lose all this fat and start seeing some definition. And this is when the role of a trainer or somebody who knows how the body works and how biology works will be like, hey, these are the changes you can expect. This is how the body adapts to this type of training. And you know, month 1 you should see this, month 2 you should see that. And that way you're like, okay, the expectations are everything. It's like, oh, I expect not to really see a transformation for all these months or whatever. But if you go on your own, you're kind of like, oh man, I've been working so hard and it's been a few weeks and nothing. Like the scale hasn't even budged. So screw this, I'm just gonna stop going.
Yeah, and a good trainer can also help you see like the little victories. Like, hey, look, you might not have dropped any weight yet because we know the first month dropping weight is pretty hard unless you're hitting it like very aggressively or like completely changing your body composition. It's not gonna happen the first month. But hey, you were doing like hamstring curls with 15 pounds, now you're doing 30. That's a big win, and that's something people don't attribute like, okay, but what does it matter? I don't look different. Like that will come over time, and that's something a good trainer can help you like, you know, celebrate those little victories till you get to one that you might consider a bigger one.
Yeah, that's a good point, and you gave me an idea for a future podcast, which is why you shouldn't look at, because everybody starts the gym. Like I guarantee those 67% of people that fail to go to the gym, they started because they want to see some sort of like aesthetic result. I need to lose weight.
No.
I need to like have a 6-pack, whatever. But I feel like if you were to focus on all the other benefits of strength training or exercise, you can hang in there for a lot longer and you'll feel better. And then guess what? The results are gonna come, but you're not so fixated on the results, because what happens is when you're results oriented, what happens if you don't see results for 2 weeks, which happens all the time. Am I gonna quit? It doesn't work that way. Exercise should be a long-term thing, should be a habit thing. So we can talk about that in a future podcast about why you shouldn't, like the results shouldn't be your number one thing, which is super counterintuitive.
It's like playing guitar. You expect to pick up a guitar and within the first month you're playing Stairway to Heaven. Like no, anybody
I
that's
did
played
that, but I'm a virtuoso.
Yeah, but you're an idiot savant. Anybody that actually knows about like playing music knows it's gonna take you 10 hours to do 2 minutes of like 4 little chords. Like it's not attainable.
You have to be prepared to sound horrible for like a good 6 months.
Horrible before you can even play some basic chords, some Ed Sheeran. But
Ed Sheeran's not that easy.
Well, whatever.
Or Hot Chili Peppers has some easy songs.
Oh, some Hot Chili Peppers, whatever.
Follow my
Smoke
channel,
on the Water.
Miami Music PT. It's a real channel.
Smoke on the Water, whatever. It's the same thing with exercise. Like you can't expect to show up and 2 months in, I'm jacked. I could do muscle ups. I could do pull ups. Like
yoked.
Unless you're Gymtimidation. Another big reason that people don't show up, I feel, is what we've talked about in our prior podcast, which we're gonna link here, maybe.
We can do that, huh?
Which is Gymtimidation, which is not the guy who went to high school. His name is Jim. Last name Tidation. God, it's horrible. I'm gonna leave it. Whatever. Anyway, you sign up. You maybe even do it online, something like that. And then you go one day and there's 20 people there and they're in better shape than you. You start feeling judged, which, by the way, we talked about in the last podcast. People don't really care. Just show up, do your thing. As long as you're trying to better yourself, nobody's really gonna care. And if they do, then they're the assholes. But I feel like that intimidation of going to the gym or being judged is a huge factor.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you don't know what you're doing, which most people don't. Then you go in there and it's already kind of a scary place if you don't know it. And then, like you said, you see people doing things that are like maybe more advanced, or they just have more experience, and then you just kind of feel like, what am I doing here? You don't really know what to do. And that feeling, it's very hard to override that feeling when you're sitting there debating, should I go to the gym? We're human beings like comfort, man. Like, it's hard to go out of your comfort zone consistently like that.
Yeah, I've had friends and clients, guys, of course, you know how guys are more meatheady. They tell me like, man, I feel bad going to the gym and I try to bench and I can't do more than one plate. Like, that's classic gym, like, fear, or everybody wants to bench at least a plate, and it's like,
which is 45 pounds on each side for the uninitiated.
Everybody starts somewhere. Like, I started when I was in high school doing 5s on each side. I was a wimp. I was still a wimp.
With your pigeon chest.
My pigeon chest, which I still have. But everybody starts somewhere. Like, you can't be afraid to. Somebody literally told me this like last week. I'm not exaggerating. It was Bucky. He told me, man, I go to the gym, everybody's pressing 225, 2 plates. I'm like struggling one. I'm like, dude, who cares? Like,
should have pressed it with his ass. Also, why is it pigeon chest? Don't they have like a nice puffy chest?
Yeah, I don't know. Good question. Probably because they're soft chested. Okay. You can see that.
One of the biggest ones, I think, is the biggest one, and it's something that is basically our bread and butter. It is lack of accountability.
Butter.
This is why people don't go to the gym, because no one's telling you to go to the gym. You don't have an appointment. It's all on you.
I'm gonna even go further than that. These gyms are counting on you not going to the gym.
Ooh,
they're not gonna be
territory that we're gonna talk about in our next podcast. Make sure you subscribe. We're gonna talk about those business models and how they're preying on you not showing up.
They don't want you to show up, and they're not gonna help you. They're not gonna send you an email like, "Hey, Jim, we haven't seen Jim again. Hey, Johnny, we haven't seen you at the gym in like 5 days." No, they don't care. Like, nobody is gonna be telling you that unless you have like a good support system. Nobody's gonna be telling you, you missed the gym again today, or you didn't show up today. Like,
and one thing we can say with our 25 plus years of combined experience is that accountability is the number one thing.
1000%.
It goes in front of programming and doing the right exercises, optimization, supplements. It's accountability. It's, did you do the damn thing? You know, do you have either somebody or yourself keeping you accountable, so that you can actually continue and follow through with your plan? Because these 67%, and I'll be honest, I think it's more than that.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it's more people that they just don't have that accountability. Most of us suck at holding ourselves accountable, and then most of us also sadly don't have an external form of accountability. So, and that's where having a personal trainer or coming to a place like Be Fit is a game changer, because we have appointments. You have to show up for an appointment. You have a trainer counting on you. You have the community of people to support you, and you have to sign up for a class. You have to cancel the classes.
No.
It gives you a lot more skin in the game. So if you're having trouble with accountability, you should check out, a studio like ours, because it's a game changer when it comes to that.
Absolutely. I've had clients tell me all the time, like, if we weren't here waiting for me today, I wouldn't have shown up.
Today's one of those days.
It's one of those days,
and
but
that's
I showed
the thing.
up.
You have to plan for days like that when you sign up to a gym. You have to understand that there's some days that I'm not gonna feel like coming, and you have to be strong enough to, if you're gonna try to, motivate yourself, to say, no, I still have to go because I made a commitment.
Yep, that's hard to do by yourself. Let's be honest.
Shit.
But that's why we're here. I don't know what that is.
Please cancel that.
I can't. I have to leave that. Oh, it smells horrible. Oh my God.
Okay, we can talk about
up here. Holy shit.
That's one results.
Oh my God.
God damn you, man. In the studio.
In the studio? How dare you?
So
Hold on, sorry.
Yeah. So we talked about briefly touched on lack of results, but that goes hand in hand with like plateauing, or maybe you have been going consistently and then you just kind of plateau. So again, there's a few things going on there. One is that you're probably doing an inefficient program, or you've probably been doing the same thing for so long, and you're not using progressive overload, and you're not progressing a program the way that you should. Again, that lack of having the structure of a trainer or a coach or somebody that's writing the programs for you, because again, most people don't know what they're doing. That's another reason why people might just drop off, because it's like, hey, I did this, it was working, I was actually seeing really good progress, and now I'm not seeing any progress. So why am I gonna keep going?
And let's be honest, even if you do sort of know what you're doing, are you going to the gym and writing down, I did 115 pounds on the bench today, on the bench press. I did curls with 25s. Like, nobody's really doing that, so it's hard to keep that overload, like to track it if you're not writing it down, or if you don't have somebody like a good trainer, like the ones you'll find here, writing down your workout. And I could tell you, like, hey, last week you benched 225, so today we're gonna try to hit that again. You know, that seems to me. I go to, like, when you go to public gyms, you don't see anybody doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the first things I started doing when I became a trainer. I used to physically have a notebook. That's a very, like, meatheady thing to do. It's just like you carry your notebook and you're writing things down. Like, that's how you knew who was a serious trainee. They have their little notebook. For some reason, you can't do it on your phone.
No, we have phones now.
You have to do it on your notebook. Anyway, one of the other reasons, which is a little bit more like the psychology, and it has to do with, like, the business model of some of these gyms, is that a lot of these gyms are like $10 a month. It's like the hassle of going and canceling is not worth it.
The $10.
So and a lot of times there's two things going on. One is you're fooling yourself into thinking, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go back. I'm not gonna cancel because I'm gonna go. I'm gonna start next Monday, right? And then the other thing is, it's so cheap that it's only $10.
Yeah.
So, like, if they keep charging me every month, like, it's all right. It's only $10. So it doesn't hurt enough.
Yeah.
For you to go and cancel.
Exactly.
And then the other thing is they make it impossible to cancel. Like, I've heard of gyms where you have to write a letter, go meet, climb a mountain and meet with the CEO of. It's horrible. I mean, I remember Ryan Long talking about that in one podcast.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, that's a little more on the, like, psychological and, like, business model side. But I think we've covered most of the reasons why people wouldn't go.
Has this happened to any of you guys, by the way? Like, are any of you part of the 67%?
I guarantee it.
If it's ever happened to you, I've had clients tell me, like, I've been paying for a gym for 3 years and I've never showed up. Then they started training here and they actually see results. So if you've had any of this happen to you, leave a comment. We'd love to see, like, what actually happens to you guys, because we've gone through it with our clients, but we've always been the type to, like, he keeps me accountable, I'm gonna be honest with you. So we haven't had this problem personally, but we have seen it a lot.
Also, I'm too cheap.
Julian is a cheapskate. He's driving a Lincoln that he stole from them.
Whoa. It was gifted. So what I want to leave you guys with is that there's a reason places like this started popping up, and it was to fill that gap. So you talked about the gap in the beginning. The gap is, I have this desire to get somewhere, but then my behavior and my actions don't match that. We built this place, and there's these little boutique studios and personal trainers. Everything came about because we knew there was a lack of accountability. We knew there was a lack of structure and having proper programming. We knew that community and having that support is important. So everything that's stopping people from going to gyms like that, those are the problems that we solve.
Yep.
And that's why, and of course, that's why we're more expensive, like, just straight up. That's why we have to charge more money, because we're offering all these things that, yeah, it's $10 a month, but what are you getting?
Yeah.
Access to the gym. Everything else you gotta supply on your own.
Including the accountability, the motivation, all of that
All
comes
the hard
from
stuff.
within. Yeah.
The gym is the least of, like, you can see results at home.
You can work out, you can do push-ups outside on the floor.
But you won't.
Exactly.
And to that,
we cheer.
Zzz.